The illustrious Jabba bids you welcome. I'm going to regret this.
I'm Pete Mitchell. He's Peyton Jones. And this is the Church Planter Podcast, brought to you by Church Planter Magazine. Hey, Church Planter, this is Pete Mitchell.
And this is Peyton Jones.
I can hear you.
What? Can you hear me now?
And
it has been a difficult morning trying to get our sound worked out.
And that always makes for a fun and entertaining podcast.
Yeah, we're all like cheesed off in a bad mood.
I don't even know who to blame. I mean, Steve Jobs, IPDTL. Who do you blame?
I did everything right. I got on here early, and it just said, nope, you don't get to play.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, my man, what's going on in your life?
Man, I don't even know. I don't even know what to say is new in my life. Though I have gotten some compliments on last week's podcast that you weren't a part of.
Did you really? Well, see, that should show you something.
It really should. Should tell me I got a future apart from Peyton Jones.
You do indeed.
There's a future.
Yeah. What did they say? Let's hear the compliment.
Oh, I just had people reach out to me saying, "Hey, I really like that podcast."
We should do more of the same. We should interview more people, Pete.
I should do more podcasts without Peyton Jones.
Let's interview more people. I want to get. I did a rad interview.
Here's what we should do. We should do a podcast where we interview like Christian authors who've got really great books out, and we could ask them stuff.
That would be great. And
we could call it like hardcore church planting.
That's a great idea. I love that idea. But you know what would be more fun, though, is when we do it, that we don't know anything about the book until about 5 minutes before.
And then, like, I could, like, text you questions and go, hey, ask him this, knowing full well that you don't even understand the question, let alone what you're asking them. I think that's what we should do.
Oklahoma. I was telling someone about our safe word. I told him, you need a safe word. I was giving someone some counsel. I'm like, you just got to come up with a safe word, man. It works.
What's funny is, there was this meme on Facebook, and it said something along the lines of, look, if you're fighting with your spouse, here's how you need to do it. You need to grab a helium balloon and take an inhale of the helium, and then the two of you fight like that, and the first one to laugh loses.
Oh, that's great.
And someone wrote the comment, you just put every marriage counselor out of business.
That's amazing.
And that's what having a safe word can do for you.
Absolutely.
Because I think when you and I use the safe word, we can't help but start laughing. It's just like...
Oh, no kidding, right?
It's so funny.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lloyd Jones used to say that every couple should argue on their knees, like in the presence of God. And that always stuck with me, but I never did it.
Well,
that goes in the box of, hey, that sounds good, but I probably won't do it.
I got to remember that one.
It's a big box. It's a full box. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But
so I honestly can't say I've had anything major happen in the last, it's actually been 2 weeks since we've done a podcast. So I don't know. I don't
Hey, welcome to the Church Planter Podcast, everyone. We're a couple losers here hanging out in Mom's basement.
And you're listening to us.
So, hey, this today's episode, our topic, people expect it. You've come to expect it. This podcast is kind of about church planting, but it's also kind of about me and Pete just catching up. And Pete and I have not talked about The Mandalorian. And whenever a new Star Wars film comes out or something significant in the Star Wars universe, Pete and I, and it's usually movies. We've never done it for anything less than a movie. But today is a departure. We are going to talk about the Star Wars universe's first ever TV show The Mandalorian. That is our topic today. If you came here expecting church planning, this podcast, like I said, is kind of about church planning, and it's kind of about Star Wars occasionally. So today is a special edition of The Mandalorian.
Why don't you go
Did you hear that in the background? My wife goes, dork. I just got persecuted for my podcast.
So why don't you start off telling people your thoughts, because my thoughts
I'm scared
in about a sentence.
I'm scared because I know that. I know you've already hinted. You're like, we'll save it for the podcast. I'm like, oh crap. Because I thought it was incredible. I absolutely love it.
See, this to me is evidence that you and I, as much as we think we agree on a lot of things, we really do not have the same tastes at all.
Oh, man, it just, okay, I will just go into all the, okay, so to me, it was almost flawless.
Oh
except
gosh,
for except for one part. When it first came on, I'm watching it, that opening scene of that little community on the ice, I was like, ooh, I like this. This is cool. It's kind of like Tatooine, but like as an ice planet. I'm down. You got me. Then it goes from that to, this is what I didn't like. The opening scene on my TV, it did that soap opera-ish kind of thing, and I've watched it, I've messed with my settings, gone back, watched it, and been like, okay, I think I fixed it. But it's still, there's something about the filming of that first scene I'm not quite down with. The thing that really got me, that almost turned me off the series completely in the first few minutes, is that ridiculous blue dude who looks like he's come straight out of the Star Trek universe. He's got that weird prosthetic. They put a bunch of latex and makeup on him and said, hey, here's an alien. Now, I gotta say, Star Wars is notorious for amazing aliens. Like, it's not just a prosthetic nose on a dude in heavy makeup, which Star Trek loves to do, right? Just a cheap alien. Let's just give him a weird nose and some gills, and he's an alien. Star Wars is like, no, we're going to make Hammerhead, we're going to make Snaggletooth, we're going to make Sand People, we're going to make Jawas, we're going to, like, Jabba the Hutt, like, everything was just something you had never seen before. Yoda. So their aliens, to me, are always top notch. So I was disappointed by him. That will be my one criticism. Everything else, his spaceship, the way it was done. One other thing that I did think was kind of lame was the armorer and the flashback. That was kind of lame, but okay, I can deal with that. Pete, go.
I don't care if I never watch another episode.
You can't say that.
It was so like blah. Like, I didn't hate it.
Interesting.
But I was like, okay, this is just stupid. Like, I don't mean like hate it stupid, but just like, okay, whatever. I mean,
what were you looking for that you didn't get? Because to me, it felt a lot like Rogue One.
I mean, I didn't care about the character. I didn't care about the story. I didn't believe for a second that this Mandalorian bounty hunter is not going to kill the baby Yoda. It was like, I don't know. I was just like, okay, whatever. And I just was unimpressed.
Right. Okay.
I just didn't care. I literally,
the baby Yoda thing, the baby Yoda thing, I think it's because he was an orphan. And I think that touched something in him because they hinted at the fact he was an orphan. I'm just saying.
So what?
I'm just saying. I'm just drawing the connection for you.
Who cares? Like, I don't care about the character.
Hey, I'm not asking you to care. I'm just saying this is the connection that,
and I don't
that causes
believe the Mandalorian cared either.
Well, I think at this point though, because he gets more money for bringing it back alive. So whether you think
he's not taking it back alive,
we don't know that yet. We actually don't know that yet.
Yeah,
so I
do.
thought about that. No, because I thought about it. He never says that.
He killed the droid. He's not.
He killed the droid. He killed the droid because the droid was going to kill the baby, and I don't think he was at that point yet. His directives were to bring the baby back alive. So
I just didn't care. I didn't care.
Did you watch the second episode?
Of course.
Okay, so in the second episode, you know the guy who's Nick Nolte, who's like, I have spoken. That dude's rad. Yeah. You don't like him? He's awesome.
Well, he's not rad. It's
oh my gosh. I thought he was amazing, and I love the fact that they're doing like puppets.
If the Mandalorians are such bad butts, I want to say something else. But it's a Church Planner podcast.
This is a Church Planner podcast. You can get away with that on the Auto Detailing podcast, Pete. What do you think this is?
If they are so bad, then why is it a couple of freaking slug
Jawas?
Dogs almost kill him?
Yeah.
It's like, what? Okay.
Yeah,
whatever.
but you know, if you go back though to Boba
maybe he's
Fett,
a beginning Mandalorian. Maybe he's just barely breaking into the Mandalorian society. I don't know.
Well, and he's moving up. So his armor, as you know, the Mandalorians kind of their religion is based on that armor. So as he's upgrading, you can see he's really got simple armor. So he is kind of newish.
Oh yeah, I could tell the armor was new and simple.
Yeah, they're based on the Spartans, and they're kind of like this warrior nation. If you guys are like, I don't know anything about the Mandalorians,
you're starting to give it like characteristics that don't actually exist, and this is the reason why you enjoy these things, because you've got a great imagination and you project it onto stuff when it's not there.
Oh no, I know this stuff.
Yes, exactly.
I had the nerdiest.
That isn't so. That's the problem.
you don't hang out with the nerdy people that I hang out with. That's all. I have some uber nerdy Star Wars friends and family.
I'm sure.
So, as you look at this on the second episode, it's not obvious that he's bringing this baby Yoda back. It's actually his ship gets destroyed. But where do you get that from?
He's not taking him back.
We don't know that because the very last thing is a guy goes, "Hey, I hope they pay you well for the bounty," and the Mandalorian just says, "Yeah, thanks." I think he's bringing it back. I think that is his intention because they haven't shown yet that he's changed his mind.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did.
And I get your point about not caring about the character because he doesn't. It's hard to connect with the character early on. Like we think of Darth Vader, like stormtroopers, Darth Vader's, Boba Fett. They were just cool. And so at the beginning, it's not till you start seeing more of Vader that you really connect to him. In the first one, he's just a great villain, right? He's just really cool looking. And so for the Mandalorian at this part, I think the challenge that they have with a protagonist, not an antagonist, being in a suit of armor, is they can't show expression. They can't show a lot of things, and they pulled that off to a certain degree with Vader, where he looks at Luke and looks at the Emperor, and you're implying and reading things in. You can do that, but yeah, that's a challenge to this show for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't. It just wasn't impressive to me. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. I mean, obviously, I'll watch the next one. I think it comes out tomorrow. I'll watch the third one. It's like, yeah, I'm just not. I just don't care. Like, did you not think it was rad when he was trying? What's that?
Did you not think it was awesome that when he was trying to get onto the sandcrawler, you didn't think that was amazing?
What do you mean? What sandcrawler?
With the Jawas, when he was trying to get onto the Jawa sandcrawler.
Why would I think that's amazing?
I thought that was
a bunch of Jawas. He couldn't take out some Jawas. Are you kidding me?
Oh man, I love that sequence.
I don't understand why the Mandalorian is such a bad butt when he can't even take out some Jawas.
So here's the thing though, right? Like we know that they're kind of like the Spartans. They're this whole warrior race, right? Oh, and I watch Clone Wars too. That's all in the Clone Wars. So you get to this point where just because they're a warrior race, it doesn't mean that they're undefeatable. So like Boba Fett,
Pretty sure I
right?
could take him out.
So Jango Fett and Boba Fett, Obi-Wan can pretty much take Jango Fett, right? I mean, he does well to stand up against Obi-Wan, but Mace Windu kills him pretty quick, So they kind of set that precedent that these guys, they're just like everyone else. They're just really skilled in weapons and good fighters. Excuse me. And then Boba Fett, he basically gets bumped by Han Solo with is it with the spear, and he goes into the side of the. If you think of how Boba Fett dies, it's pretty lame. He just gets blind Han Solo bumping into his jetpack or something,
Which is evidence that other than they have really cool looking armor, they're not so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, and that was
people were upset about that.
I think that was another thing that bugged me about the Mandalorian. If they don't ever take off his helmet, I don't think I'll ever really care about the character.
I think they're not going to take it off.
I don't think they are either.
Maybe. Yeah.
I agree. I don't think they will. I think that'll be like the whole thing. And then, maybe one day if the show really does well, they'll be like, oh, it's the big reveal. And then they'll be like, who's the right actor for this? And they'll, I'm like, whatever.
I never would have thought Adam Driver was the actor they should have picked for Kylo Ren. I still am not happy with that choice.
I don't know. Well, I don't have a problem with that. I just don't. I mean, I don't know who you get for that role,
And I get kind of why they picked him, because he's kind of nerdy looking. So like when he takes off the helmet, you see, oh, he's just kind of like a normal dude. And I think they were going for that because they want you to not be in awe of him. They want you to be like, oh, he's just a kid. He's a normal dorky, geeky kid making stupid mistakes. And that's kind of the impression you get. But yeah, with the Mandalorian, I'll tell you what I like, right? So I'm gonna have to shake off your feelings of it's not that great, because dude, I watched that first episode 3 times. I've watched the second one. I'm gonna watch it again, start to finish. When the third one comes out, I'm gonna go back and watch 1, 2, and 3 again. About
this. Remember the ice creature that blew up the?
He was cool. Speeder? I liked him. Yeah, you don't like him?
I was like, are you kidding me? This is what the guy does for a living. Is he freaking rolls around on his speeder over the ice, and he dies. I mean, it was just like done. I'm like, are you kidding me? I just didn't buy into it.
That's funny. Yeah, I thought the guy, didn't he have some kind of tracker on his thing? Because it is a bit confusing. He's like, hey, I'd get off the ice if I were you, and that was
and
a little
just like grape.
So then I thought it was rad when he froze that blue dude. Of course, the blue dude was really cool. Annoying me.
That was cool.
But I thought when he goes, I was hoping to make it to life tape, that's probably not going to happen.
Well, it might
Bounty
take
hunter
a little
shoves
bit of
him
time.
in there.
I'm molting. I thought that was funny.
Yeah. But he goes, yeah, probably not. Freezes him. I'm like, oh, that's so awesome. And when you see the carbon, I don't know what they call them, like the decks or whatever that the guy's frozen in, when those started floating out the back of his ship, I was like, that's so cool. And I was geeking out the whole time, man. I just thought, there were so many cool things.
I really enjoyed it when you texted me earlier in the week. Hey, this week we're talking about the Mandalorian. And I was like, whatever.
You're like, okay, this is the plan.
I even told Wayne, I go,
us.
yeah, I didn't tell him anything, but I was just like, whatever.
So coming up today, I'm so excited to talk about this, and you're dreading it, it's gonna suck.
I'm like, well, it didn't do anything for me. I was like, it wasn't prequel material, right? Okay, it was not like that.
Yeah, it was a little better than that.
I really liked Solo. I really, really liked Rogue One. I liked The Force Awakens. And I think those are the only movies they've had come out in the last 5 years. So those were all really good.
So, yeah, those movies were hands down
because that other
better
movie
than The
shall not be
Mandalorian.
named. That other movie
No.
that made the prequels look like Oscar winners, to quote you.
Yes, I agree. I agree with you there, brother. There's just, unless they do what I have proposed, there's no saving it. You can kind of almost, but there's still unforgivable parts in that film that they can't pull. They can't pull out the casino. They can't pull out the casino. They can't pull out, from so much of it. There's just no way to save. But the Luke stuff is salvageable if they play it right. But anyways, I digress. How cool though, Pete, to see an equivalent of IG-88, the robot bounty hunter, who, he wasn't IG-88, but he was an IG unit, and to watch him in action.
IG-88 in the originals, was that one of the bounty hunters?
Yeah, he's one of the bounty hunters. So there was Bosk, who was like the lizard one. There's IG-88.
And you only see him in that one scene, right? Where Vader's like, whatever, giving him.
Well, and that's what I felt. I felt like they were giving us throwbacks to, hey, you guys always wanted to see this. Sure. You always wondered what IG-88. Here you go.
But come on, the whole I'm going to self-destruct.
That was hilarious.
It's not funny. It's like, how did he become a bounty hunter and he wants to self-destruct every 3 seconds?
Well, because he's that's true. There is an inconsistency there, because Andrea asked a question when we were watching it. She's like, what is a droid going to do with money? And I'm like, well, he's going to upgrade his parts,
Well, it's just I don't know.
But if he's got that much volition to say, "Hey, I'm taking this bounty," then yeah, I guess that does make sense. He wouldn't want to self-destruct. But he was under orders. Yeah, he was under orders for his intel, because he's a droid. He has intel.
He doesn't have intel.
I think when he took the assignment, he had to agree to that. That I am making up.
Yeah.
But I love that Empire dude. Did you not love the Empire commander he's meeting with? That dude was awesome.
I barely even remember which one was the Empire commander.
It's the guy in the opening scene that gives him the assignment, and he's creepy as heck. I love that. And that standoff with the stormtroopers. Hey, we got him 4-1.
Predator.
Oh yeah, that's true. And the rumor I hear is that the Emperor has somehow cloned Yoda, and so they want to use a Yoda for the dark side.
That you hear?
That's the rumor I hear. That's what's going around on the nerd tom-toms.
Yeah, that would. It would fit. I still don't know about making Yoda, the Yoda creature, a baby at 50. To me, that's just ridiculous. I don't care if he can live 900 years.
You're thinking he would have been if you take the human lifespan 90 to 900, at 50 years old, he's 5, right? It's kind of what you're thinking.
He's not a baby. What creature would take care of something for 50 years and it's still a baby? It just doesn't even make sense.
Right. Yeah.
I wouldn't have a problem with it just being, a creature that lives 900 years and ages really well.
Right.
It's probably on testosterone and everything else.
Yeah, it didn't bother me how old he was. But if he's 50, the question I got is, how long after, Luke is this? Does that mean that for 50 years the Emperor had a baby Yoda floating around? Is that kind of what we're going to start finding out in this stuff, is all the weird stuff the Emperor had kind of planned, and
who knows?
Besides Death Stars,
who's writing the show? Is it the Jon Favreau guy or whatever his name?
Yeah, it's a dude from
Is he
from that food truck movie?
From the what movie?
The food truck movie. He makes Cuban sandwiches. Did you not see that one?
No, I never watched it.
Yeah, Jon Favreau. That's
from Iron Man. Let's just leave him as the guy from
Okay, all right. Yeah, your way's better. He's already owned by Disney, so that's he's keeping it in the family.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just was again, like I said, it wasn't that I hated it. I just wasn't impressed by it. And I'll watch the next ones, but I wouldn't care if I never got to watch any of the rest. If they canceled it, I'd be like, yeah, okay, whatever. Like it didn't do anything for me.
I'm hoping it redeems him. I'm hoping you're like Darth Vader and it's gonna redeem you. At the last moment you're gonna take off
It's
your
entirely
helmet.
possible, but it just like after watching the first 2 episodes, I don't think it's going to. I think that's just kind of how they wrote it.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm looking forward to hearing you go, you were right.
Well, it's
you were
entirely
right
possible.
about me.
I have to admit that it could happen. Now,
It could.
there's what's possible and then there's what's probable. Is it possible? Sure. Is it probable? No.
I'm gonna hold the torch. I'm gonna burn brightly. That this is I'm gonna light the fires of hope. I'm holding out for this because we got to geek out on it.
Go for it, man. I kind of feel like this is World of Warcraft territory. Where I think you need to go for it. I really do. And I'm just going to cheer you on as a good friend should. Meanwhile, I'll be saying Oklahoma.
And we going, let's go to the gun range. So that way we each got our hobbies that the other one goes, that's good. You do you.
You do you.
And I can understand that. I think that we can, you at least didn't put it on the level of the prequels or the film that must not be named. So I can respect
it's
where
not,
you're coming
it's
from.
Not, it just wasn't exciting to me. Like I just didn't care about the character. And I think part of it is because all you see him is the helmet. And it's like if he's going to be the main character and there's no facial expression, like can you imagine a whole series where there's no facial expression?
I so can. And it's because the whole thing was pretty much like Star Wars action and retro. I feel like with this show, they kind of went, okay, all that crap we said about leave it in the past. We got to move on in the franchise. Okay, nerd fanboys, stop, grow up, get a job, stop being babies. I feel like they kind of, without saying it, came back and said, okay, we're going to give you guys some stuff that you wanted. Right, we're going to go back to the past. We're going to give you.
I feel like you're just saying, "I have spoken."
I have spoken. That's my new phrase, by the way, on everything.
Oh, unfortunately, I think that's going to be everyone's new phrase.
That's what you should call this one. I have spoken.
You should actually next time you preach at the end of it, just close with, "I have spoken."
I love it. Put my hand up like he does in that signal.
That's how everyone knows it's over.
I'll wait till that's how I'm signing off today.
There you go.
Go to simplifiedchurch.com. I have spoken. So, the thing is though, is, as I look back, like even like his gun, that gun, there's a couple things. So the gun is the original design, the Ralph McQuarrie concept that made it into the cartoon back in you want to talk about something that shouldn't be talked about, the Star Wars Christmas special, right? That was Boba Fett's first appearance. So
I don't remember that. I'd have to go YouTube it or something.
I don't think you were born. Were you born that year?
What are you talking about?
It's like, was it 77 or 78 they made that thing?
Dude. I'm older than you think. What the heck?
Are you 43? 44?
44. I was born in 75.
Oh, okay. You're only 2 years behind me. So you were 2.
I know. That's why I'm like, what?
Yeah, you weren't old enough to play with the figures yet, though.
Look, we didn't watch any of this sinful stuff because we were a Christian family. And so,
Yep. The devil box, that's true. And the Force, this new age crap that's coming through. So, but the cool thing, the other thing is, if you go back and look at the original, he's riding a dinosaur. Now, it's not a T-Rex, right? It's not Boba riding a T-Rex, but it's a lizard creature. It's not quite the same as the one that they had in here. The ones they had in here are way cooler. But he's riding like some weird little dinosaur dragon thing in the original. So again, to me, it just felt like a throwback,
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. So, oh man, this conversation went so different than how I
really
expected
thought I was
it to
going
go.
to be into that show, didn't you?
Oh, I
hate
did. I couldn't wait to talk to you. It hurts. It actually causes a bit of physical pain But man, I'm
just glad you didn't say Oklahoma.
No, I'm good. I will not lose the faith. I will hold out. This is my new mission, is to hear you say that you like The Mandalorian. We can still be friends without it. Don't get me wrong. In fact, it gives our friendship a deeper purpose.
To me, it was like, I just didn't care. And I still don't.
Yeah.
You know, that's all.
So, and one thing I will say, I'm going to leave you with this because it's a really good point. I want to say, Pete, for all of our listeners out there, to the point that if he doesn't take his helmet off, I just don't know that I'm going to care. All I can say is we were all traumatized on the internet when Boba Fett actually took his helmet off. We saw pictures of Boba without his helmet on. Now, it wasn't the guy from The Phantom Menace or Attack of the Clones. Like, that weren't great when we saw him. We're like, oh, that's what he looks like. But no, that's not the picture I'm talking about. The picture I'm talking about is the dude in Return of the Jedi. They've got shots of him with his helmet off. He is wearing the nerdiest gold glasses you've ever seen, sporting a mustache. The dude's a total nerd that wore that costume. So I'm just saying, we may not want to see Boba Fett or this new Mandalorian without his helmet on.
Yeah. No, I get you. I remember the picture. I mean, he's like sipping a cup of coffee with this mustache and like a Pop-Tart or something. I don't know. But
he's got a double chin. He looks like a computer scientist. And you're just like, oh, that's just all kinds of wrong right there. Why did you take that picture?
Yeah.
You've ruined Boba. So anyways, well, guys, that's our podcast today. We don't really have much more to say other than that The Mandalorian's awesome or it's not impressive, depending on your point of view, which apparently is, kind of a Star Wars theme anyways, depending on your point of view. So anyways, that is my piece on war. Go watch The Mandalorian, not once, twice, but give it 3 times. And Pete, maybe that's the antidote for you. Maybe you got to watch it again. Give it another chance.
I've seen it twice because I watched it with Luke.
What was Luke's take on it?
Oh, Luke loves it.
Oh, great.
Luke liked The Rise of Skywalker. I had to explain to him how bad that movie was. Come on.
Oh, yeah. But, I can see kids liking it. I can totally see that.
He just doesn't
They don't know.
He doesn't.
They don't
he doesn't
know.
understand. He wants to make Dad proud. Dad, that was a
Dude.
great
It's so
movie.
not his fault. It's not your fault as a parent. Like, you shouldn't blame yourself, Pete.
Let me
It's
explain
just
to you why that's not such a good movie.
and that is good parenting right there. That's taking responsibility. Pete. It's the sins of youth, really. It starts young.
So, hey, let me ask you, if while I'm watching The Mandalorian, I don't have time to do payroll or, workers' comp, what do I do?
Well, you head on over to simplifychurch.com, Pete, and they actually value The Mandalorian, and they think it's a great show. And they will, take care of all your...
me if I don't think it's a great show?
They will, Pete. They'll actually function as your ecclesiastical Jawas. They will work behind the scenes, tinkering on all of your little church bits and droids and bots that need automatic maintenance. They'll do all that for you.
I love it.
And guys, if you haven't checked out my YouTube channel, Ministry Ninja, I got a video coming up every week speaking of finances. And this week will be no different. So go ahead. We've got episodes like how to keep your church out of trouble, yada, yada, yada. So the yada, yada one is really good. So check that on out. That's Ministry Ninja YouTube channel. And Pete, anything you want to promote? I have spoken. Anything that you want to point to, Pete, in your other podcasts or shows?
No.
Okay. Pete has spoken. All right, guys. Well, this has been Peyton Jones and Pete Mitchell reminding you, if you want to reach the ones nobody's reaching, you need to go where nobody's going and do what nobody's doing. like the Mandalorian.
Thanks for joining us for another weekly episode of the Church Planter Podcast with Pete Mitchell and Peyton Jones. We'd love to hear your comments on this episode of the Church Planter Podcast. Visit us online and let us know what you thought at churchplanterpodcast.com. If you subscribe to us via iTunes and have enjoyed the podcast, leave us a positive review. The more positive reviews we receive in iTunes, the more iTunes will promote us to other church planners who would benefit from this show. This podcast is brought to you by the Church Planter Magazine, which is available in the iTunes newsstand or online via churchplantermagazine.com.